What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a new video. In this video, for the first time ever, I'm showcasing some battles in Open Master League. I finally decided to max out my 98% IV Shadow Machamp. I don't know what took me so long. It's such a good opener in the current meta with Dialga and anti-Dialga leads being so common. Things like Melmetal, Excadrill and Mamoswine are everywhere in response to Dialga, and Machamp beats them all. Just to add some extra spice, I'm going to give it an Elite TM to teach it Stone Edge. Shout out to Jamie Finn for giving me that idea. It did not disappoint. And because I'm a glutton for punishment, we're pairing this up with another Pokemon I recently maxed out, 100% IV Hydreigon with Brutal Swing, of course. Got this literally my final trade on Community Day, and I'm very happy about it. I was so pissed off that day that I didn't catch a hundo, but it came to me at the 11th hour. So finally on the safe swap, we're going to have the untouchable Dialga, 100% IV Best Buddy. This team features two of my favourite Pokemon I've caught in Pogo, this one and of course that Machamp. So we are quite weak to fairy types, but don't worry, we're still able to pull off some wins. I do like a challenge, so let's get into the battles. So first one, let's have a look what we got on the lead. Mewtwo, absolutely horrible lead, but we do have two answers to Mewtwo in the back, and it's actually a Confusion Mewtwo, which you do not see at all in the Master League usually, especially the Open Master League. We knew that probably wasn't going to be a Focus Blast. I think it was 5 Confusions they did, so we let it go through and it was just an Ice Beam, so that was a really nice call. Now we're going to put pressure on with an Iron Head. They do decide to let the Mewtwo go down, so we've won swap. That puts us in a nice position now. I assume they don't have the best answer to Dialga because now they brought in Zekrom, and obviously they didn't swap out of that Mewtwo. So now we've got alignment. We're going to come in with the Machamp, and we're going to look to build up some energy, use one of our shields here, and then we're probably going to look to swap into the Hydreigon to finish off the Zekrom, and then build some extra energy on that. So let's see what they got in the back. It is their own Dialga. So surprised they come into my Dialga with the Zekrom. We are going to be able to put on some pressure with this Brutal Swing. Let's see if they give up a shield. We really need them to give a shield, and they did. That's such a big call by them because we're going to be able to get to 2 cross chops with the Machamp, I think. It does take a while to build up to that Iron Head, so we should up the Iron Head, and we've got the back-to-back cross chops to go against the Dialga, and this should definitely be taking the thing out. Machamp outputs so much damage, even in this Master League, being about 600 CP less than the Dialga. It doesn't matter, get out of here, and you're not as good as my one. So into the next one we roll, and let's see what we've got on the lead this time. This time it's a decent lead, Mamoswine, so they instantly make a swap out into Landorus, which is a really awkward swap for us. Both of our back 2 Pokemon are obviously weak to the superpower that Landorus usually has. So we're going to let this go through. It is a superpower. We are able to survive that just about, so that's quite nice. Sure, we're going to give up a shield now and put some pressure on it ourselves, see if we can win that swap. Unfortunately, they're definitely going to be able to out-spam us. We don't get to the Brutal Swing quite quick enough to put on the pressure, but we are eating into them with the Dragon Breath, forcing them to throw another move. And then likely we're going to go down here and look to bring in that Machamp, counter them down. I don't think they're going to be able to get up to another charge move, so that's pretty decent for us. Let's see what they bring in. They come in with a Lugia, so you know we're going to go straight for that Stone Edge. Let's see how much damage this does. Probably not going to be expecting it. Oh, that does quite a lot to the tanky Lugia. Over half health, definitely a lot more than that Rock Slide would do. So now we've got the Mamoswine in the back. Luckily we get up to an Iron Head before they can reach a Bulldoze, and that's going to force a last shield from them. So we're definitely going to let whatever they throw go through, because we're going to want to counter this thing down with the Machamp and get another Stone Edge off against the Lugia. The opponent actually makes a really big mistake here and goes for a second Avalanche. They should have actually tried to farm us down, because really they wanted to be taken out by our Dialga, because now Machamp's going to get a nice energy lead versus Lugia. So now we've got a few counters in extra. This is going to be an easy win, because we're going to just smack this flying bird thing, I don't know what it is, out of the sky, and it's going to be a goodbye to you, Lugia. Another win with the Machamp. Going into the next battle, let's see what we got. So we've got Ho-Oh on the lead. This is a mixed bag. They're obviously resisting our counters, but we will be able to one-shot them with a Stone Edge. We're just waiting for them to throw their energy so we can sneak through a counter, and then if we throw our charge move after 2 counters, it just makes sure that they can't get through and Incinerate. But they do swap out now into a Zacian, and we're going to bring in Dialga. This isn't the best situation, because obviously a close combat will be doing a ton of damage to us, but they hit us with a Play Rough, which is absolutely fine. We're just going to go straight for the Iron Head now, expecting them to shield it up, because this will do massive damage to them, but they let it go through, which is fine with us. We're going to look to farm them down, but unfortunately they just get to a move before we're able to do that. So expecting them to take us out, but it's actually a Wild Charge, so we resist that and we just live it, and we've won the swap now, so that's perfect. And we get to an Iron Head against Ho-Oh. Things are looking a bit better now. We're going to go for the Iron Head, expecting them not to shield that up, because obviously it is resisted, and that was a good call by them. We're going to bring in the Hydreigon now, and we're going to resist all the fire moves, but a Brave Bird would do a lot, but for some reason they go for Sacred Fire, so that's really surprising. Even if they just had Earthquake as well, that wouldn't have been resisted, so unsure why they went for the Sacred Fire. They bring in a Yveltal now, which is really great. We store a Brutal Swing on the Hydreigon, and then we swap into Machamp where we've got that energy loaded, go for a risky cross chop bait. At least this will be doing neutral damage, but they do give up their first shield, which is perfect. From this range, we know we can survive a Dark Pulse, but I really want to keep the Machamp in good health, so we are going to shield it up, and we're going to look to overfarm as much as possible. Going for another Cross Chop now, and they do give up their final shield. Will a Cross Chop KO from this range? I have absolutely no idea, so this is very risky. We go for it now. It doesn't barely KO, which is really, really unfortunate, but we do have that Brutal Swing left on the Ho-Oh. We do survive, actually, and we get off a Cross Chop, just doing some extra chip against the Ho-Oh, and now we're going to bring in the Hydreigon with a Dark Pulse and just seal the win. Pretty sticky situation there, but we was able to pull it out the bag with those Cross Chop baits, and GG's to my opponent into the next one against Heart-Shaped Eyes. Very nice name, and we've got a really good lead with Dialga this time. They make an instant swap out into Mewtwo, so we bring in that Hydreigon, and this is a bit of an awkward matchup because obviously a Focus Blast will one-shot us, but they didn't build up to Focus Blast. They just did the 7, I think it is, for an Ice Beam, so we let it go through knowing that we can actually survive, and potentially they may have had Shadow Ball anyway, but they did hit us with the Ice Beam and it did a lot of damage. But because of the double resisted Psycho Cuts, we should be able to put on enough pressure to get 2 shields out of them at least. They're not going to be able to farm us down with fast moves, so we go for a Brutal Swing here and it gets the second shield out of them, which is absolutely fine. Like I say, they're going to have to throw just to get rid of us, and they're almost at 1 HP, so they throw the Psy Strike. We're going to bring in Machamp now and just get some extra farm with those resisted counters, and they bring in Kyogre now, so we're looking absolutely dandy as we do have a shield advantage. But just to make things even more comfortable, we're going to catch the Surf on our own Dialga. If they bring in their Dialga now, we're just going to go straight for a Draco Meteor and take them out, but they do get to a move before us. Are we going to call it's just the Iron Head? Unfortunately, we do give up that last shield, which is putting us at a bit of a risk. So we're just going to farm up as much as we can, try and get ourselves down lower. But we should have let ourselves lose more health because we don't want the Kyogre to farm. And that's 3 waterfalls, is it? So they're really close. They get through, obviously, the 4th one. And we've got 2 back-to-back Cross Chops. Is this going to be enough to take out the WoW? They get through another waterfall. Is this last Cross Chop going to be enough? It just KOs, so that was harder than it needed to be, but we did pull out the win once again with the Machamp, and that was the end of a 5-0 set. I went with this team. It's pretty crazy, I've got to admit. So into the next one we go, the dreaded lead Togekiss. So what are we going to do here? We swap straight away into Dialga, and the aim is just basically to get 2 shields at least out of them. Hopefully they let one go through, but no doubt they're not going to do that because everyone loves to double shield their Togekiss, don't they? Oh my god, it's so sad. Anyway, so they're going to throw a move now. No doubt this is just going to be an Ancient Power, but we need to keep the Dialga in health. It was actually an Aerial Ace, but now they make a swap out into their own Dialga, so this is absolutely terrible for us. That's going to muck us up completely. The only option now really is to farm down the Dialga the whole way with the Machamp and hope we can land that Stone Edge against Togekiss, but things are not looking good. So we shield up that Iron Head and we are going to be able to counter down the big Steel Dragon, and then we're going to go for the move against Togekiss. Taken ages for them to bring it in. We're not going to get to 2 moves, so we should just go for Stone Edge, but for whatever reason we go for a bait. It doesn't matter what happens, but they let it go through, so we could have actually had hope in this battle, and that's why you don't bait in that situation. What the hell was I doing? What an absolute melt. Do not ever do that in that situation. I have no idea why I thought I could get to another move, and that was a pretty terrible battle. It just shows the risk of running this team, which is pretty weak to Charmers. Anyway, we had Mewtwo on the lead, coming with Dialga. They stayed in and threw a Shadow Ball, and we knew it wasn't going to be a Focus Blast, so we let it go through, and now make a swap out into their own Dialga, which is actually really good for us. We did build up to a potential Draco Meteor, then we just went for Iron Head, just so we didn't debuff our attack. We knew they were going to give up a shield anyway. So now this is perfect. We're going to come in with Machamp and look to farm down the Steel Dragon once again, and we're going to have a move loaded to go against that Mewtwo once it comes back in. Stone Edge is going to do quite a lot of damage to Mewtwo. So let's see, they're definitely going to bring the Mewtwo back in, I would have thought, unless they've got a Charmer in the back. So go straight for that Stone Edge, and they give up their last shield, which is absolutely fine. So we're going to try and catch Psy Strike on our Hydreigon, and it doesn't work out, which is a really big shame. But we let it go through anyway, and it was still a Psy Strike, so that was a massive call. And now they bring in Yveltal once again, so this is absolutely perfect for us. This is quite a common team, I think, Dialga, Mewtwo, Yveltal, and it is really, really good for us to see. We basically instant win if we call the right bait. So we go for a Flash Cannon now, and that absolutely munches the Yveltal, and they've taken that loss hard after a pretty decent lead for them. So that was a good win for us. So we're going to the next one against Garchomp on the lead. So if this is the Mudshot version, I think this is pretty good for us, and it looks like it is the Mudshot version. So we're just going to go straight for a Cross Chop here, and it's going to do some okay neutral damage, already getting down into the yellow, even though Garchomp's fairly tanky. It's nice to see Machamp holding its own in this big boy league. So we're going to actually shield that up, and it was an Earth Power, so that was a really nice call. building up as much energy as we can, counting up the mud shots. They let it go down, which is a surprise, and now they bring in Mewtwo. So we're going to instantly swap into Dialga, knowing that we've got another answer to the Mewtwo in the back with the Hydreigon, and really hoping that if they've got something like their own Dialga in the back, they bring it in now, which is what they do. So now we're down 2 shields, but we're definitely going to put on pressure with this Iron Head bait. They do give up their first one, which is really nice. Can we get to another move? Are we actually going to try and make it to the Draco? We don't. We just go straight for another Iron Head, and hopefully this gets their last shield as well. So, oh, this is looking dodgy because obviously they're just going to obliterate us with a move. Can the Machamp survive an Iron Head? We need to really just get this thing down low enough so that we can get to a move with the Hydreigon. They do throw straight away, and it is the Iron Head. Unfortunately, we don't live it. And can we just farm down with the Hydreigon? Really hoping this isn't a Draco. If it's a Draco, obviously we're out of here, and it is. So, unfortunate loss there. But we couldn't quite pull that one out of the bag. With that 2 shield deficit, it did actually put us in a really crap position. Into the next one we go. Dialga, Shiny on the lead. They go into a Zacian once again. And like I say, this isn't really the best swap for us. We were too slow as well. We should have gone straight into the Dialga. They go straight for a Wild Charge, which is fine. And we CP tie with the Stone Edge, expecting they're going to shield this up. But they let it go through, and it does massive damage. Absolutely clowning on the Fairy. Fighting versus Fairy, who cares? We make an instant swap now into Hydreigon when they bring in their Giratina, because our switch clocks are slightly misaligned, so we know we can tank this damage and do a lot to them before they can swap out. And then we've still got Dialga in the back for the Giratina if they do that, but they are staying in, so we're just going to go straight for a Brutal Swing here, and they have finally made a swap out into their own Dialga. Now this is a pretty bad matchup for the Hydreigon, but we're going to be able to put on some chip, but they give up a shield, which is really crucial in this battle. So we're obviously going to bring in the Machamp now and look to build up as much energy. So we could just let the Machamp go down. We know we've got that Giratina in the back. We're going to get the last shield out of them with this cross chop. But as this is Machamp's video once again, well, Machamp and Hydreigon are sharing the spotlight. We're just going to look to shield this up and get to a Stone Edge against the Giratina, but it does just force them to swap in and take us out before we can get to a move. But it doesn't matter because we've got full health Dialga in the back, and they back out. They've been absolutely slapped around the mush, and that is a GG's to them. We're going to the next one. Let's see, we've got Kyogre on the lead, so I think we're probably going to swap out in this situation. We've got 2 better answers to Kyogre in the back. Try and bait out potential Charmer like we have done right here with the Primarina. And straight away I'm thinking, oh my god, please don't be double charmed. So we go for the Iron Head, which does land, which is good news, definitely. And we're not quite able to make it to another Iron Head before they get to their charge move, forcing us to throw a shield. So we're going to go for another Iron Head here, try and win the swap, and at least get a shield out of them, which they do give up. But now we're looking in a terrible spot. This is where things are really awkward because we have absolutely no fast move pressure with either of our other 2 Pokemon. We're going to have to bring in that Machamp and look to counter them down the whole way. It would have been better than double resisted Dragon Breaths. We're looking to make an instant swap into the Hydreigon, hoping that we can take on whatever's in the back. But it is double charm, so that's an instant defeat. And that's always the risk that you take with these sort of teams. But we're going to the next one with another good lead. Can we restore the balance? And they swap out into Mewtwo once again. As we've seen, this just keeps happening. So we're just going to go into the Hydreigon and go for those brutal swings. This time we do correctly shield up a Focus Blast, which is really nice. We're easily going to be able to get 2 shields out of them, but in case they let this go through, we're building up as much energy as we can, and they do give up a shield, so we're just going to go straight for another one. I'm not sure why we overfarmed there. Maybe, we're just going to look to farm them down the whole way, if that makes sense. I was thinking to myself, what are we doing? But we're going to try it out this way instead of trying to get the 2 shields out of them. So let's see what they want to bring in now. It's probably going to be the Dialga like I expected, and we're just going to go for back-to-back brutal swings, which is going to chip into them quite nicely, but unfortunately it's not going to get them down low enough. So they probably will look to farm us down, but they give up their second shield, so we'll make an instant swap out into Machamp, and they actually have Kyogre in the back, so this is absolutely fine with us. Go for the first cross chop. And what are we going to do here? Are we going to just let the Machamp go down? I think that's probably what we're going to look to do. But it looks like they were trying to farm us down, so they let us get up enough energy. So we're just going to take out the WoW. And can we get up to another cross chop against the Dialga? So we can. That was really interesting there. So they were trying to farm us down the whole way, and we actually wanted them to take us out with a move. So we were both on the same sort of wavelength there. We knew what was up. And that was a GG's to them. Into the next one, really terrible lead with Landorus. This isn't great for our whole team, so we completely bamboozle their opponent and swap into Dialga, they were probably thinking, what, this is not a counter. But obviously those Dragon Breaths are going to add up, and once they start debuffing themselves, one superpower is not going to KO. So it does actually put us in a pretty decent spot. It's definitely a better matchup than the Machamp. So we're going to go for an Iron Head here, definitely expecting them to give up a shield, which they did, and we're probably going to let this through, I think. And actually, it's a Stone Edge, so that's a brilliant call. It still did quite a lot of damage to us, considering they're debuffed and it's resisted. They bring in Mewtwo, we're going straight for an Iron Head here, expecting to get that last shield out of them, which we do. And we're not locking ourselves in, we're going to force them to throw energy, which is really good, but they probably could have just about Psycho cut us down, so that was a big call by the opponent. Now we bring in Hydreigon, and we're sure this isn't a Focus Blast or an Ice Beam because they didn't count up enough energy, which is very silly by the opponent, because now we're going to be able to farm them down the whole way. You can see the Psy Strikes, even though they're double resisted, still doing quite a lot. They go for a Shadow Ball, which is the better option as it's not double resisted, but it doesn't matter. We're just Dragon Breathing down everything. They bring in Landorus for some reason, trying to get off a move, and yeah, it wasn't quite enough. So now we're going to go for Brutal Swing against a Palkia, which you don't see too often, but it's nice to see. I've used it myself, and it is a fun Pokemon, but all dragons are outclassed by Dialga in the Master League, so we're easily going to take the win here. We're just going to go for a Cross Chop and take out the Palkia, and then we're going to be able to take out the Mewtwo, and they back out and save us some time, which is absolutely beautiful. We're doing it once again with that Shadow Machamp. So into the next one, Mewtwo lead, absolutely horrible, Shiny Mewtwo Flex. So we swap into our Dialga once again. We've seen this before, and we're sure that this is not a Focus Blast, as they didn't build up enough energy. They didn't even hit us with anything else, just a Side Strike, but even then it did so much damage to us. We're almost into the red. They're just chipping into us so that their own Dialga could farm down the whole way. At least we're going to get a shield out of them with the potential of a Draco Meteor, which I don't go for because I don't want to lower my attack in those last few Dragon Breaths. So let's see what happens here. We're going to come in with a Machamp. They've got a lot of energy. We've got 2 shields though, so that's good. Really hoping they don't get to 2 Iron Heads against us. So let's see if we can counter them down, and we just about countered them down, which is really nice. And we're going to go straight for that Stone Edge. Let's see if this one is going to connect this time. And they do let it go through, so it does so much damage to them. We swap out into Hydreigon, and we catch the Side Strike. Absolutely beautiful. What have they got in the back? It's Yveltal once again. So exactly the same team as I said last time. Dialga, Mewtwo, Yveltal. The only difference between this battle, it played out exactly the same, apart from the fact that they didn't shield up that Stone Edge with the Mewtwo. So now we're actually going to have to bait with our Hydreigon. We did give up a shield to the Focus Blast, which is a really good call, but they actually didn't shield up the Brutal Swing, which is really nice call by them. But we've got 2 back-to-back. Can we Dragon Breath them down before they get to another Focus Blast? We can, and they back out once again. The Hydreigon taking the win, and it's too much for the opponent to bear. So into the next one we go. Mewtwo on the lead again, absolutely horrible. Go into Dialga. They bring in a Groudon, and it's a Dragon Tail Groudon, so it's very unusual. And as you can see, the lag here, absolutely horrendous. I was playing this while I was at work, and yes, not a good lag at all. And it actually makes a difference. It makes a difference in this matchup here. As you can see, we're not able to get through enough Dragon Breaths. It's still stuttering and puttering, and we would have been able to get up to another Iron Head there. So that was really, really bleak. But as you'll see, it does actually work out in our favour. I do turn off the Wi-Fi there because I'm like, this is just ridiculous. So we bring in Machamp, expecting this to be a Fire Punch, which it is, and that's a really nice call. But unfortunately, they're just able to get up to another one before we can counter them down. So things not looking great for us. We are in even shields, and we're going to have a massive energy lead to go against the Mewtwo. Once again, we're going to go straight for that Stone Edge and see if we can land it against the big brain. We're actually over farming a little bit, trying to catch, or we're trying to catch on the Hydreigon. It doesn't work out at all. They take ages to swap out after building up loads of energy, and they've got Kyogre in the back. So this is one of the things we do want to see. And we're definitely going to let this Surf go through. They're just trying to chip into us. We're building up as much energy as possible. We're going to go for the Brutal Swing. I'm not really sure what the play is here. Obviously got a move loaded on the Machamp, so we could just try and farm down the Kyogre, but we're just going to get off our energy and actually put on the pressure with the Dragon Breaths, get them to throw a move hopefully, and then just swap into Machamp. But we're going to have to make a big call here. Even a Side Strike would do a lot of damage to us, and that is really bad for us. So we'll go for the Brutal Swing. They're obviously going to have to shield this up, so we're going to make the swap into Machamp, and luckily they aren't wise to it and they don't throw their energy. So Stone Edge lands, boom, and the fighting type taken out, the most powerful psychic in all the land. And that was another 4-1 set there for us, and we get an absolutely useless Absol for our troubles. Thank you very much, Niantic. Into the next one, horrible lead with Dragonite, so we swap into our own Dialga, and they come in with a Rhyperior, and this is something you have not seen for ages in the Master League. I think it was season 3 or 4. Everyone was running Rhyperior with Mud Slap, because you could just Mud Slap down Dialga like this, and obviously everyone was using Melmetal as well, so it was just having loads of play, but you don't see it as often. We bring in a Machamp now looking to counter them down. We know we can survive a Surf, but we do give up one shield, which is a bit risky. But we know that this is just going to be another Surf because probably they're going to have Rock Wrecker as the other move. They could have Superpower, but we'll be surprised if they didn't. So we counter them down, and let's see how it's going to play out from here. Things are not looking particularly great. We do have the Dragonite, so we're going to go straight for a Stone Edge, but my opponent makes an absolutely sublime catch onto Metagross, and that is going to flip the game completely. What can I say about that? I had to leave this one in because that was just a beautiful catch by my opponent, even though we did do 8 counters for the Stone Edge instead of 7. So once again, somehow my opponent knew that we had Stone Edge, or just was somehow got lucky with their counting, and we're just going to back out because it's absolutely pointless at this stage. GG's to them. That was very, very well played. Got to respect that real shit. So we go into the next one. Excadrill lead, absolutely beautiful for the Machamp. They swap out into Giratina, and this is hard counter city. At this point, we should have just gone into Hydreigon because we're going to be resisting all the moves, but I think I went into Dialga because Dialga doesn't want to see Excadrill more. So a bit of a weird logic, plus in my head, the amount of years I've been playing Master League, so instantly know to go into Dialga as soon as you see that Giratina. And it's a bit of a weird one using Hydreigon. It's nice to use some new Pokemon in Master League. It's been so long, but every time I use new Pokemon in Master League, it's so much fun because it's so difficult to run Spice in Open Master League. So they bring back in that Excadrill. We're going to go straight for the Draco here, and they do respect it. It would have done a lot of damage, but now we have a 1 shield advantage. A drill run is going to do a lot of damage to Machamp, so we shield it up because we need to take this thing out. But they make an instant swap now into Zarude, and we don't know what to go into because both of those things are very, very good against Zarude. But we bring in Hydreigon as we know we're going to be resisting both of the moves. And now we're just going to look to do as much damage against the monkey with this Dragon Breath. But as you can see, this thing is really, really tanky, actually. The full XL version that this player got completely legitimately from all the raids that Zarude's been in. So we go for a Brutal Swing, and it doesn't quite KO, and we go spamming the button, and we accidentally throw our energy, so that's complete. What a complete bone play. So now they've only got to build up to 2 moves pretty much. Actually saying we've got pretty much full health on the Machamp, haven't we? So luckily we get to a Brutal Swing and take out the Excadrill before they can get to 2 moves. Oh, we nearly mucked that one up, didn't we? That was pretty funny because we did completely hard counter the opponent. And we roll on into the last battle with another very good lead. And thank you so much for watching the whole video. If you have, I really appreciate it. Please leave me a like and a comment. Let me know what you thought. It really does help the video every time you interact, just to spread it to new viewers. So I really appreciate it. So into the last one, we had another Mewtwo swap, which we come in with Hydreigon, and they hit us with an Ice Beam again. And as we already previously saw, we can easily survive that, and we take them out this time with a Brutal Swing. The first time we actually see one go through, which is quite surprising. They have Excadrill in the back. So this team is getting devastated by the Shadow Machamp. It's not even a contest. We go for a Brutal Swing, which they let go through. To be honest, this game is well and truly over already, and I'm sure they know it. We're going to shield this up because we want to see the Machamp just punch everything out of the game. And in comes that Hydreigon. I do feel for them. They're going to go for a Brutal Swing, which will probably get us down quite low. We're going to shield it up because we just want to absolutely munch this thing with Machamp. Really unfortunate for the opponent, but that's what happens. Thank you so much, guys. That's going to do it. Catch you in the next one. Stay angry, trainers.